You are walking through a dense forest on a remote Indonesian island. The air is thick and wet. Somewhere ahead, smoke rises from a low fire. You step closer. A figure crouches beside the flames, broad-browed, thick-boned, its face older than anything you have ever met. It looks up. It sees you. It is not human like you, but it is not an animal either. What if Homo erectus never went extinct? What if, right now, somewhere on Earth, a living population of your most ancient tool-using ancestor still walked the same ground you do? This is not pure fantasy. Homo erectus was real. It was discovered in 1891 by a Dutch anatomist named Eugene Du Bois, digging along the Solo River in Trinil, Java. He found a skull cap and a thigh bone. The thigh bone looked almost human. The skull did not. He had found a species that stood upright like you, but thought in a body built for a different world. Homo erectus was not a footnote. It was one of the longest surviving human species in history. It lasted for nearly 2 million years. Compare that to us. Modern humans have only existed for about 300,000 years. Homo erectus outlasted us before we even began. And here's the part that should unsettle you. It did not go extinct as early as scientists once believed. In 2019, a researcher named Russell Sayashon led a study published in the journal Nature. His team redated fossils from a site called Ngandong, also on the Solo River in Java. The bones had been found decades earlier, but nobody knew exactly how old they were. Sayashon's team used layers of volcanic sediment and careful dating methods to pin down a new timeline. The result was staggering. Homo erectus at Ngandong was alive as recently as 108,000 years ago, maybe even later. That means Homo erectus was likely still alive at the same time as early modern humans were spreading across the globe. Two human species, overlapping in time, possibly overlapping in space. So the real question is not whether this once happened. The real question is what changed, what tipped the outcome. Picture the divergence point. Two paths branch out from that same forest floor in Java. Down one path, Homo erectus fades, isolated on shrinking islands, cut off by rising seas, unable to compete with the newcomers arriving from Africa. Down the other path, something different happens. Sea levels stay low a little longer. A land bridge holds. Isolated pockets stay connected instead of cut apart. Small numbers survive in dense, hard-to-reach terrain, exactly the kind of terrain that had other surprising human relatives for thousands of years. You already know this can happen. In 2003, on the island of Flores, not far from Java, researchers uncovered the remains of Homo floresiensis, a tiny human relative nicknamed the Hobbit that survived in isolation long after its cousins vanished elsewhere. If one hidden human lineage could last that long in the Indonesian islands, why not another? Now walk into that alternate world. What if Homo erectus were still here? Somewhere in the deep interior of a place like Java or Sulawesi, small isolated bands still exist. Broad brow ridges, thick skull bone, built to protect a brain smaller than yours, but capable of remarkable things. Homo erectus was the first of your ancestors confirmed control fire and the first to leave Africa entirely, spreading as far as Georgia and China. This was not a simple creature. It shaped stone tools with real skill. Some evidence, including the famous Turkana boy skeleton found by Richard Leakey's team in Kenya in 1984, shows a body built for long-distance walking, for endurance, for covering ground the way your own legs still do today. In this alternate reality, anthropologists do not dig for erectus. They observe it. Documentary crews film it from a careful distance. Governments argue over land rights and conservation zones. Do you protect it like an endangered animal? Do you recognize it as something closer to a person? The world does not have a category ready for this. Every museum diagram of human evolution, the one showing an ape slowly straightening into a man, would need a correction. The arrow would not end with you. It would end at you, standing beside a living branch of your own family tree that never fell. Here is the counterintuitive twist. You might expect the outcome to feel triumphant. A living link to your origins standing right in front of you. But the more likely story is far bleaker. Every time a small, isolated population of ancient humans has met a larger, more adaptable population of modern humans, the outcome has tilted the same direction. competition for territory, competition for food. In many models of what actually happened to your closer cousins, the Neanderthals, researchers like Svana Pabo, who first sequenced ancient Neanderthal DNA, have shown that overlap between human species often ended not in coexistence, but in absorption or replacement. A surviving Homo erectus population would likely be small, fragile, and pushed toward the same edge that swallowed almost every other archaic human lineage before it. There is also a darker possibility. Recognition might not bring protection. History shows that differences often met first with fear, then with control, and only much later, if ever, with respect. A living Homo erectus might not be studied gently. It might be captured, confined, displayed. The instinct to understand and the instinct to dominate have never been easy to separate in your species. And yet, there is something eerily close to home in all of this. You do not need a surviving Homo erectus population to prove that ancient humans and modern humans once shared the same ground and the same air. You already carry the proof inside you. Most people alive today carry a small percentage of DNA inherited from Neanderthals, a direct result of interbreeding between two human species that once looked at each other across the same kind of clear and describe at the start of this story. Homo erectus is technically extinct, but the pattern it represents, ancient humans and modern humans intersecting in time, already happened. It is written into your genome right now. So maybe the real shock is not the idea of meeting a living fossil in some remote forest. The real shock is realizing you already carry the echo of that meeting in your own blood. You are walking through a dense forest on a remote Indonesian island. The air is thick and wet. Somewhere ahead, smoke rises from a low fire. You step closer. A figure crouches beside the flames. It looks up. It sees you. And for the first time, you understand that you are not looking at something separate from your own story. You are looking at where it almost went